suspected serial killer.
Possibility that there is a serial killer.
A suspected serial killer.
Is this America's most recent serial killer? An investigation still undergoing. However, all evidence is pointing to him. This is what we know about Perez Reed. And later, talk about whether he falls under the serial killer name. Welcome to Bedtime Crime, a channel dedicated to stories about serial killers, murder stories, and much more. So remember to like and subscribe, and let's get into it.
So at the time of this recording, this is a case that is still ongoing. So let's talk about what we know about the suspected serial killer, Perez Reed.
Perez Reed was born in 1996 to a mother who was only 17 years old and a father who was 30. Reed also has an older brother. From the time they were born up until when Reed turned 10, they had an unstable lifestyle. His parents were reported to be unwilling, unable, and unfit to raise a child, let alone two. From there, Reed was put into a guardianship with his cousin, who looked after him until 2012 in Ferguson, Missouri. Reed was still around his family, though no longer in guardianship. However, there always seemed to be drama. On August 2nd, 2016, Reed, 20 years old at the time, tried to set the attached garage to his cousin's house on fire while his father, aunt, grandma, and cousin were still in the house. An altercation between Reed and Reed's cousin was supposedly what started the event. After the argument, Reed's aunt told him to leave, to which he did, but also stealing his dad's car in the process. Only a few minutes later, the family started to smell smoke. However, Reed was not convicted for setting the house on fire. If he was convicted, he faced up to 15 years behind bars.
He did some time in detention. However, the case was dropped in 2019. This is not the first time Reed tried to set fire to something. He also was reported to have set fire to a car parked in a driveway, which Reed actually called the emergency services himself.
Perez Reed has been struggling with mental illness for some time. He has been reported by his family as a person who is manipulative and dangerous. He changes very quickly between personalities. The family members say he acts bipolar and schizophrenic. Reed has been reported to be on medication to help with his mental illness. However, it's unsure, but it seems unlikely if Reed is still on medication at this point. On December 8, 2017, while in detention for the arson, Perez filed a civil rights lawsuit requesting not to undergo a second screening for mental care. He also complained that he was falsely imprisoned, that he lost his job and unable to pay for child support. He has also complained about being around violent people and, because of that, is now traumatized.
At the moment, Reed is very closely linked to 6 murders in 2 different states.
4 murders in St. Louis and 2 murders in Kansas City. On September 12, 2021, a victim was shot in the chest without any warning while he was waiting for a bus. The man suffered serious injuries and permanent disability. On September 13, 2021, approximately 9:34 p.m. on the 9900 block of Glen Elwyn Drive in St. Louis County, a victim by the name of Marnie Haynes was fatally shot in the head and arm. She was only 16 years old and the very first victim to die in St. Louis in this case. 3 days later, on the 16th of September 2021, a victim by the name of Pamela Abercrombie was shot in the head and killed. Also on the same day, another victim was shot in the face but miraculously survived. On September 19th, Carrie Ross was shot and killed. And the last recorded shooting in St. Louis was on September 26th at 7:15 p.m. on 1700 block on Barbados Lane, St. Louis. The victim's name was Lester Robinson. On October 28th, Reed, who lives in St. Louis, took a train from St. Louis to Kansas City, Missouri, CCTV footage captured Reed on the night of the 28th of October 2021 with another person. The person is seen holding a door open for Reed at an apartment building. On the footage, the person and Reed both enter the person's apartment together. The body of Damon Irvin was found on the 1st of November 2021. The next day, on October 29th, Reed was seen going back to the same apartment building. Another victim was found dead in her apartment on November 2nd. She was shot in the head and upper back. The victim was Ray Darnafero.
Probably the biggest evidence police have at this point in time is that all the victims were shot with the same gun. The Kansas City police were aware of what happened in St. Louis. They shared the ID of Reed, who was the suspect to the Kansas City murders, with the St. Louis police.
The FBI linked the two cases together. Forensics have shown that casings from the Kansas City and St. Louis shootings are the same and matching Reed's gun, which is a .40 caliber semi-automatic pistol. Reed has told investigators that he found the gun in Jennings, Missouri, picked it up and took it to Kansas with him. More evidence known to the public at this time is that the CCTV footage I mentioned before at the victim's apartment on the 28th and the 29th of October showed a man in a mask and a hoodie. Though the face is not fully exposed, the moon crest tattoo on his forehead seemed to match Reed's appearance. A driver's license belonging to Reed was used to enter the building of the victims mentioned before. He has admitted to knowing the victims but has said that he is not responsible for their deaths.
If or when Reed is found guilty of these crimes, does that put him in the category of a serial killer? At this point, we need to evaluate the crime and the accused.
Now, according to the FBI, the full definition of serial killer has been debated. Law enforcement and academia have debated this subject, but there hasn't been a definite answer. A definition that has been tried to define serial murder is from the Protection of Children from Sexual Predator Act of 1998, Title 18 United States Code, Chapter 51, Section 1111. It states, serial killers means a series of 3 or more killings, not less than one of which was committed within the United States, having common characteristics such as to suggest the reasonable possibility that the crimes were committed by the same actor or actors. An obvious aspect to defining a serial killer is how many victims. However, it must be paired with a period of time between murders. This is an important factor so we can distinguish between what is a mass murder and what is a serial murder. Serial murder requires a period of separation between the murders. This is known as the cooling off period. In this case of the accused, we have murders on September 13th, Marne Haynes, on September 16th, Pamela Abercrombie, on the 19th of September, Kerry Ross, on the 26th of September, Lester Robinson, on the 28th of October, Damon Irvin, and on the 29th of October, Ray Darnafero. A span of killings in over a month. By location, the killings are quite close in the space of time. As far as we know, the Kansas City killings took place at least a day apart. So there is a cooling off period. The killings in St. Louis were within a 2-week span, with an average of 4 days between each murder. It could have been more victims, however, luckily 2 people survived. With this information, we can say that it doesn't fall under mass murder, as mass murder in simple terms is 4 or more killings with no cooling off period, and usually the one incident at the one location. In also defining a serial murder, the definition states, having common characteristics such as to suggest the reasonable possibility that the crimes were committed by the same actor or actors. For this situation, we are aware that the gun casings found at each scene were matching the gun that Reed had on him while he was arrested. Also, this is not final, however, in some reports the style of killing was similar, which was shooting some of the victims in the head. However, this has not been a big part of the investigation as of yet. What I will look into more is the randomness of the acts of the accused. Serial killers are well known to have preference or type. For example, Samuel Little liked women with nice necks. Jeffrey Dahmer would target men. However, the accused has attacked both male and female. I did read reports that the accused was with sex workers, but I can't 100% confirm this at this point of the recording. At this point of the investigation, if Reed is found guilty of the killings, it is more likely that he will be classified as a serial killer. However, what do you think?
Now, as of this recording, which is the 14th of November 2021, there hasn't been a lot of movement that I can report since the arrest. Facts, news, and evidence is subject to change. However, I thought it would be good to break down some simple terms of what defines a serial killer. Let me know how you liked it.
Thank you for watching Bedtime Crime. Remember to like and subscribe, and if there are any stories you would like to hear, please leave a comment in the comment section. We'll see you next time.